Hi, everyone. I'm Seth.
Hi, guys. I'm Monique.
And this is
Gay Math. The Gay Math Podcast.
With Seth.
And Monique.
This is Gay Math.
Okay.
With Seth and Monique. Hi, guys. It's Seth here. One half of the Gay Math Podcast. The better half. No, I'm just kidding. We love you, Monique. I just wanted to jump on here before this episode starts and let you know that this is a 2-part episode. So this is actually part 2 of a really long episode where we dive deep into Hillsong and church and our experience there. So if you want, episode 1 is already live. You could stop this, listen to that one first, then listen to this one first, I'm not your mama. Pick the order you listen to it in, but it's an interesting conversation. And just a forewarning, trigger warning for this episode, we talk a lot about some controversies that happen. So just a forewarning, we talk about abuse and we really get into everything that happened at Hillsong. So we hope you guys enjoy, and here's the episode.
All this stuff is like coming out about our church, but then the larger church things started coming out about, and people really started to dig deep into the Hillsong of it all. And
I mean, so Brian Houston's dad that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
I feel like at the time this wasn't like completely unknown, but apparent when he was younger, he sexually abused children.
Yeah.
Apparently 13 victims have come out so far. But as we were at Hillsong, I didn't know that information.
Yeah.
But apparently, Brian was like the founder of Hillsong. It was just his dad.
Yeah.
And his dad died in like the 90s, and it was just this thing that happened in Australia. It's not connected with Hillsong at all. Brian didn't know about it. No one knew that it was happening. It was this thing that happened, and he has no connection to Hillsong. He's been dead for 20 years.
Right.
It's confirmed. He sexually abused children for 40 years and didn't pay for any of his crimes. He didn't ever go to jail. He was never put on trial. He wasn't fired from the church.
No.
They just kind of removed him slowly from that. But, I mean, up until that point, it was... no one knew about it. Like,
exactly.
When it came out, it was this huge shock to everyone, like in the 90s when everyone found out. But again, no connection to Hillsong.
Yeah.
And then the big shocking news was Brian Houston knew about it the whole time. And not only did he know about it, he was paying the victims to not talk about it.
Yeah.
And was orchestrating payments to them, and he had meetings with church leadership on what to do about it and what to do about his father, and not to fire him, but to like kind of sweep it under the rug. But yeah, it was 2022, I feel like all of this started to come out. And like you said, it was just people doing investigations, and it talks about this a lot in the documentary. But in Australia, they created this commission for for children who have been sexually abused, and so they started doing investigations. So Hillsong, because of what happened with Brian's dad, they did a whole investigation. Brian had to stand trial, and even on trial, he was like, when we found out about it, we had this meeting, we removed him, we didn't know about it, and so that was very shocking. Yeah. And I think... so he resigned in March of 2022. Yeah. I'm assuming that's around the time all of this was coming out. So the global lead founder of Hillsong was removed. He stepped down because of the trial that was happening. The church thought it would be best that he didn't speak on stage while an active trial was happening. So it wasn't like he was fired, he was removed. It was he's taking a leave of absence while this trial is happening.
And here's the thing. Before he left, first of all, Brian Houston, let me just say this. He's always scared me. I have never met him personally, but I just remember when he would come to preach, like, I wouldn't listen to him, and I would just go do other things. Like, I'd just be like, oh, like, I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to go whatever, because his messages always felt really scary to me in terms of, like, oh, fire and brimstone, like, kind of, like, very intense. And I I remember when all this stuff was coming out about Hillsong, largely because, remember, they're fine with throwing a man, like, which, okay, again, not to, like, make him seem like he's, like, a victim, but they willingly threw a man who they grew, this is like, he literally treated him like his son, like these were almost like his son, and Laura, who's his daughter, they're okay with like throwing these two people who have kids, who their kids have grown up with, like they're okay with throwing these people under the bus and just ruining their fucking life. They don't fucking care. They've ruined this person's life. They don't care. But all this other stuff is like fine.
Meanwhile, he's paying the victims of his dad's sexual abuse to not talk about it. And he's firing someone who cheated on their wife. It just is like, had a consensual relationship outside of his wife. Again, at the time, we didn't know about the abuse stuff. At the time, all we knew that he had a consensual relationship outside of his marriage. He was fired. He was the horrible problem. We have to get rid of him. Meanwhile, the man that's saying this is abusing women, is having inappropriate relationships. His dad sexually assaulted children. He covered it up. He's been paying people to not talk about it. Bananas.
And at the time, I remember before he left, he was like, very much like, this is what like happens, like, which this is when I kind of realized, okay, this is like different than regular church. Like, when he was like saying stuff like, this is what they do, like they're persecuting us, like they're coming against us, like this is the devil, like the devil is trying to, and it's good that this is happening to us because
it means we're doing something right,
because the devil is trying to come against us, and like this is like, you know, like all this, like, you know, we're doing the right thing, we're on the right path because the devil is trying to destroy what we've built, and like all this stuff. And that's when I remember being like, okay, this is scary, because I've only ever heard that in the context of cults and people being like, they're trying to destroy us, like they're trying to get rid of us. And that's when I was like, that's not what got me out of it. But I remember taking a mental note of that and being like, that's sus. That's scary. That's a little bit scary. And I remember being like, I don't really know. I don't agree with that. But like, okay. And I remember him saying that kind of stuff and being like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they showed a lot of clips like that in the documentary of him talking about it during this time, and he's like, you know, everyone on social media, they love to hate on us but that's just the devil coming after us. No, it's because you are covering up the sexual abuse of your father.
No,
that's
literally.
why people are coming after you. It's not the devil. It's not you're doing something right. Like, have a little bit of accountability. Maybe just a shred. And it's just really concerning to me. And throughout the whole documentary, and I texted you about this while I was watching it, the only people over the course of this entire thing that have taken even like this much accountability is Carl and Laura. I mean, Carl is like, the second it happened, they were removed from the church. He immediately started rehab. He immediately started going to therapy. To this, like, now when he talks about it, he's like, I fucked up. I messed up. We were doing so many things wrong at the church. I feel horrible about the way that I treated people. And every single day I wake up and I try to do better. And it's just so scary for me, for Brian to have done these horrible, egregious things and just blame it on the devil, and like it's just the world trying to like attack us, and just no accountability is just it's so scary. It's really, really, really scary. And the amount of power, the amount of money, the amount of influence that he had. And the documentary talks about all of these very important national leaders in Australia were buddies with him. The police commissioner was best friends with Brian and there was never an investigation that happened while that man was the police commissioner. The only reason they started investigating this was because that police commissioner retired and they got a new one. So like he was buddy with all these national leaders in Australia. So he was just able to get away with this for so long, and there's so many victims, and it's just so fucked up, and no one's taken accountability. No one will ever pay. Like, Frank is dead. No one will ever pay for those crimes. These people are literally traumatized, and it's just so insane.
Yeah. And it sucks because when you're a part of something that you don't understand is bad, like when you're in it, it feels like you're just doing something that you like love and you care about. But then when it feels like you've been lied to, and it's very like, I don't know why I'm getting like so emotional, but it's very like, it makes you feel like you were like a part of something that was wrong, or that was, and it was wrong. It was wrong, but we didn't know. We had no idea. And a lot of us did not know. And we genuinely thought we were there to do good. And to find out they were like doing all this stuff, it makes you so upset, because it's like, I was ready to give my life for this, which is scary, that I was ready to give my life for something. But at the same time, it's like, you just like don't know when you're in it, and then it feels like you're doing something good, so you hold on to that, and then you find out about like all this stuff later, and you're like, what the fuck was I doing? Like, and then you feel like you lost. I feel like I've lost years of my life doing that.
Yeah.
Because what did it do for me? What did it serve? Like, what did I gain? Like, what did I learn? Like, I don't know if there's anything that I can honestly take away from that and be like, oh, I'm happy about this. And maybe there is, because we met, and Ashley and all these people, and I became a stronger person because of it. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, what the fuck?
We were lied to.
Yeah.
And we connected ourselves with something as evil as that.
Yeah.
And like, we had no idea. I mean, they were paying people to not talk about it.
Yeah.
They were ensuring that no one found out about this, so that this can continue, and people could continue to go to this church and continue to listen to these songs and continue to give Grammys to these people.
Yeah.
And we had no idea.
Yeah.
And that's what bothers me. I have some family members that I've like tried to just kind of share, or just even slightly talk about Hillsong, and they're like, well, not all churches are like this. This isn't all churches. It's not all, like, don't let this ruin you from church. And I'm like, do we understand what we're saying here? What we were a part of, what we connected ourselves to, how literally traumatizing it is to know that children were being abused, volunteers were being abused while we were there on Sunday. Backstage, people were getting abused. People in connect groups were being abused by pastors. And when they tried to speak out about it, they were told, you will never be able to come here again if you tell anyone. Your connect group is no longer allowed to meet. That is traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like you said, we gave up our whole life, everything we cared about, all of our desires, all of our passions, all of our dreams, to be a part of this.
Yeah.
While they were abusing people. And we had no idea.
And it's like, it wasn't even just that too, because like all that came out about the church, and then it was like, there was another thing that a girl got sexually assaulted at Hillsong College by a pastor's son, and they swept that under the rug. Like, there was gay students a part of Hillsong College that were kicked out. Like, it's how expensive it was. Like, the money that people have drained into going to Hillsong College to not get anything out of it, or not become a pastor, or not be set up the way they thought they were. Like, the way that the structure is of the church school and everything is, like, unhealthy for people to be doing, and like volunteering all this time and trying to do schoolwork. So it's like all this stuff, and like you hear all of it after, and you're kind of like, I cannot believe like this is what I was lifting up. And there was so many like Instagram posts and so many things that I was like, I'm so proud, like whatever, and like it was all a lie. Like, it was all a lie. And it was,
we were being lied to, we were being manipulated, and it doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't
feel good looking back on it. And I just, also, a lot of people talked about in the documentary that the people that found out about it signed NDAs. So like the church would, when they went to Hillsong College or when they went to these things, they would sign NDAs, which I work in a legal office, so we should just have this conversation really quick. An NDA does not protect anyone from criminal activity.
Yeah.
So if you have signed an NDA and something illegal is happening, you can tell someone about it.
Yeah.
You need to tell people about it if something illegal is happening. But they use these NDAs to like make people think they couldn't talk about anything they heard about. But I don't know who needs to hear that. If you signed an NDA and you hear something or see something illegal happening, you can tell police about it.
Because NDAs only cover like intellectual property and like stuff like that, right?
Yes.
It's not like
criminal activity. You can't just like not report abuse because you signed an NDA.
Yeah.
Like that's not how that works. It's just for, like you said, it's intellectual property. It's like Hillsong secrets or like financial statements or, private meetings that happen. Not criminal activity that's not protected under an NDA.
Exactly. So all this has happened, right? And also here's more context as well. So like I said, I've gone to like all these like leadership meetings and all this stuff, right? And I've met both Carl and Laura before. I loved Laura, which a lot of people have like thoughts on her, but from what I knew her, from the couple times, I think I like spoke to her like 4 different times, and she was incredible. She was so sweet, so kind. And I had also met Carl because like I spoke to him once at like a camp, and then also Laura had seen me and was like, oh, this is like whatever, like I had, and they were like, I love them, which I don't want to say to the point where it's like, I think a lot of people made Carl into this idol, and they lifted him up higher than God, which is why a lot of people were so disappointed and are disappointed, which but I mean, there's like, you have to kind of separate God versus preacher versus person,
Right.
But still, like, he's your pastor, like you look to him, and I just like, I remember I loved Carl because I read his book and I identified with him, and I never wanted to be a pastor in my life until like I had like felt called to it. And that was the same thing with Carl. Like he never wanted to be a pastor until people were like, like I remember people telling me like, oh, you really are good at like speaking to people, like, and then I was like, be a pastor, like that's something I think I want to do. And like I started, so I connected to him so much, and that's why like I think it hurt me so much, because I was like, dude, like I believed in you, man. And like I had such like
similar backgrounds, similar childhoods, like church was an escape for both of you, and just very similar stories.
So, and then also I had the same thing with my parents, like that happened with my mom and dad. So I think that also hurt me as well, because you kind of see Carl is almost like he was like a father figure in a way, like removed. And I was speaking to one of my girlfriends about this too, and she was like, that's so weird, because I felt the same about him. And that's why like it hurt so much, because it was like another man who like you look to is like disappointed you, and you're kind of like, what the fuck? So all this stuff has happened, and you're probably like, what like led you to leaving, and like why like you left, whatever. Well, I was ready to be like, Carl, he fucked up. It's his fault. We're still going to build this, because for a long time, a lot of people were talking about Carl, like that he wasn't doing enough. And we were all talking about it. All the volunteers, we were all kind of upset with him at some point, and we were like chatting with each other. Like I know people in my friends, in my circle, we were like, he's just not here enough. He's spread too thin. He's going to different churches and preaching. Like you should be able to talk to your pastor. You should be able to get in a room with him and not be so far removed, and security and all this stuff. So we were still at the time like, you're just a dude, man. Like, be so fucking for real. Like, you're a pastor. We should be able to get in touch with you and have heart-to-hearts with you.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, I was ready to be like, yeah, you know what? It was Carl's the problem. I was praying for something new, for a refreshing in our church. And okay, this is a refreshing. It's hard, but it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But then all this other stuff started coming out. And I was like, I genuinely cannot and will not align myself with these other things. Because yeah, Brian is gone and whatever, but it's all a foundation. Like, there's a foundation that's been built. Unless the foundation is completely deconstructed, then how do we know it's something new, something different? Like, it's not tainted by all of this.
Right.
And like, there's systems and things in place in this church that have allowed it to be the same. And I mean, I don't really know, because I'm not there anymore now, but is it different? Has it changed? Like, has it become this place that's like better and like, you know, growing? And like, yeah, they said they have, like, they've done like, because when all this stuff came out, they hired like different people for like HR, internal investigations. They hired financial people to make sure the money wasn't going to incorrect places and all this stuff. But is it being done the right way? Are people being treated differently? Is this like a different refresh of Hillsong Church? I don't really know. And I left because I was just like, this is too much. Like, all this fucked up shit is too much. Like, it's not okay that this stuff has happened while we were here. Yeah. And people were just like letting it go, sweeping it under the rug, all this stuff. And then also too, at the time, I remember being like, I did not agree, like, and this was in the pandemic too, like, I remember hearing one of the other pastors saying like, oh, if you're preaching the word of God in your own words, you're not like teaching people how to be Christian. So if you want, and it was a theology class, like, you cannot tell people about your God. You have to tell people about the God in the Bible. And that, for me too, all this shit happening, and then I hear that, I'm like, I cannot stand up on a platform and tell people that it's wrong to be gay, because that is not true. Yeah, it's not true to me. It's not true at all. So I can't blindly say you can't get abortions, it's bad to be gay, transgender people don't exist, because that's not fucking true. Yeah. So that, in that moment, everything kind of like fell apart for me, because I was like, I literally can't do this. Like, this is not just this church. This is the American Christian church. Yeah. Because it's not just Hillsong. There are other churches where things have happened that have been covered up by people to allow their church to keep going. And that's not okay. No. And that's why I was like, oh, deuces, like, I can't be a part of this. It's not okay.
When was that?
And I think,
when was this?
Rue, when was this? I think that was maybe like, I want to say like, probably before I like left college, like maybe like 2022, around that time, 21, end of 21, maybe 2022. Yeah. That I was like, I just really can't do this anymore. It's not okay with me, because people were still okay. Like, what made me so upset was people were still okay with going to the church while all this stuff was coming out about Brian and stuff, and all this other stuff was coming out about what was happening at Hillsong College or other things like that. And I'm like, y'all are good, like, because Carl left, but they were all like, we're back at church, like. And then I remember people being like, I'm not gonna watch the documentary, so don't ask me about it, like, don't talk to me about it, I'm not gonna watch it, it's all lies. What?
You mean the criminal investigation that happened with a trial and evidence? And
yeah, so that's why I was like, you know what, y'all are like blindly doing this. I cannot.
It's not happening. I'm not supporting something anymore like that.
If we can't even have conversations about what is wrong here, then I cannot. All this stuff is coming out, and that doesn't bother you.
Yeah, like, it should.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think so like I said, I left Hillsong years prior to this. And then I came to Mosaic in Los Angeles, which we could do a literal whole other episode on Mosaic. But it was pretty similar, same timeline. It was like 2021. I just feel like 2020 cracks started to form in not only Hillsong, like just the church in general, and how I saw them respond to Black Lives Matter, to the pandemic, just the election with Trump and all of that stuff. It was just like, this isn't an isolated incident. This isn't just Hillsong. This isn't just Mosaic. This isn't just one church. This is a problem with the church. Like, I think now I don't go to church, obviously, and my relationship with God is, I don't know. There's not one. I don't know if I believe in God. But yeah, I think it was just slowly over time. I was like, my issue is not with God. My issue is with this church that humans have created and built it on a foundation of lies and exclusion. And like you said, I don't agree that being gay is wrong or abortions are wrong. And like, you know, seeing that the church so firmly stand against things that I don't even believe in was just one thing after the other. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not tying myself to something, because we tied ourselves for so long to something that was pure evil and was just abusing people. I'm not doing that anymore. The rose-colored glasses are gone, and I just can't. I don't see things the same anymore. And I went with my parents to church when I went home for Thanksgiving, and it was the first time in a really long time that I had gone, and it was just truly terrible. It was awful. I can't sit through a church service anymore, because I just know it's all manipulation. I know it's all lies, and I know that these people don't want me in there. If they knew I was gay, they wouldn't let me serve. There's probably abuse happening that's being covered up. They're mishandling money because there's no oversight for churches, and I'm not tying myself to that anymore.
Yeah.
And it was about the same time. It was like 2021.
Yeah. So I think for me, now it's very hard. And I was thinking about this the other day on a Sunday, actually, because there's a Mormon church by my home, which that's another thing. But if I said that I didn't miss the church, that would be a lie. Because here's the thing. That life was so easy because I knew who my friends were. I know where I'm going every Sunday. I have a community around me, and I know like that it's going to be there no matter what.
Yeah.
So for me to say that, oh, I don't miss it, like whatever, would be a lie. Because that was that 5 years of my life, and I'm now choosing the path that's completely different. I'm queer. I don't go to church anymore. I don't have any of the same friends. And here's the thing. I moved to a different state. I've lost those people. Not because of anything I did, but maybe because I probably said maybe a couple things about the documentary or a couple things about Hillsong. People unfollowed me. People who I cried with, who knew about my family, people who we were supposed to be friends for life. I've lost those people. And you know what? It's okay. It feels like it's not supposed to be us and them. And I'm not saying that's their point of view. But sometimes it's like when you're constantly being preached to that the people around you in your life matter, and that dictates how you'll get blessings or how far you're going to go. And like who you have around you really affects you, blah, blah, your circle, check your circle, check the people. So then what is it then? So how is it not us and them? If you're telling people you can't have certain people around you, or you have to hold certain people at a certain length, so how is it not us and them? Like, so they're not supposed to associate with us. They're not supposed to be around us. And they can love you, but they don't love the sin. So it's like...
It fully is us and them.
Yeah, and I don't want it to be like that because, like I said at the beginning, like, there are people who still go to that church or who have gone or who that's all they knew, the same way as me, because they were there before, even before I was, and those people are their family, like the pastors and people. Like, I get that, but at the same time, like, it's like I don't want them to feel like, oh, what, like, I'm fucking talking shit about you, like, this is about you, like, because it's not about you. And I don't want these people to take it so, like, you know, directly at a hit at them. It's not about you, it's about what has happened. It's about the organization. It's about what they've done.
Yeah.
And that's not about you. And that took me a long time to realize it's not about me, because I was so hard on myself for a long time, like being so mad at myself because I bought people there. I bought my friends there. I bought my family there. I told them that this was a safe space and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And like, even like little red flags where I had like friends in the middle of New York City being like, yeah, you shouldn't get an abortion, or being gay is weird. And I'd be like, we're in the middle of New York fucking city. It's the most
this thing on.
Right. This is the most liberal, like, hello. And still being like, oh, that's weird. But like moving on from that.
Yeah.
Like, I just,
it's weird too, because a lot of people that's their argument for church. That's what a lot of my family says to like try to get me back into church, is the church does community well. It's a good community to have, which if you're giving them free labor, it is good community. But I just think back to like, I've left several churches in my life. I've only left like one church because I was over it. Most of them were because I moved, but like these people that I considered literally my family, obviously not you or like my literal roommate that I live with now, I met at church, but just this community I had when I would leave the church, never hear from any of them again.
Yeah.
Like these people I would spend every Sunday all of this time with during the week, cried with, shared my family troubles, shared my issues, the things I was struggling with. The second I left the church, not even because I hate all of you, I hate the church, I have to, like, I just simply moved states away, so I stopped going, never spoke to them again. Never heard from them again. Like my literal best friends at the time, if you leave the church, done. You never hear from them again. And I'm like, what kind of community is that they're only there for you when you're giving them something?
Yeah.
And even thinking back to like these friendships, and people would text me and be like, how are you doing? Like, how have you been? And I'd be like, oh, I'm good. And they'd be like, great, dude, can you come on Sunday? Can you serve on Sunday? Like, it was always, there's a motive behind it. They don't actually care about you. They care about you because you're there giving them free labor. You're setting up chairs. You're there early. You're mopping the floors. That's what they want out of you. And it's just really disappointing looking back, seeing all these friendships that I thought I had that were fake.
Yeah.
They weren't real. They just wanted something from me. And the second I left, never heard from them again. Yeah. Except for the people like you. And I have a handful of friends that I've kept, but I mean, we had lots of friends at church. We had so many people we would see. We would get coffee with. We'd hang out. We'd get dinner. Haven't heard from any of them. Haven't heard a word from them.
It just makes me like very sad because I was so happy. And it's just like, it's sad because one, I was so happy and it was blind happiness at some points, but it makes me sad because like I like literally like that was my whole life. Like I was prepared to like go to be a part of this church forever, like work there forever, like be a part of the staff. And I lost my entire, like I lost my friends, like my entire life was gone. And I had to rebuild that from the start because like people were like, you're not with us, dude. You're fucking again. Like it's so crazy. And it makes me emotional to this day because I do miss just feeling like safe and happy and comfortable and whatever. But at the same time, it wasn't like, it was a lie. Yeah. So it's like the dichotomy of figuring out how to like fix that in my brain. And then also like sometimes I'll hear like a worship song and I'll like cry because those were such good times.
Yeah.
But at the same time, were they really though? Because I remember little things like happening in the church or happening to me because of certain people or certain groups of people, and being like I said, what the like, this is a church, like why the fuck are you like bullying me right now? Like, you know. So it's like catch-22. It's like you love it, but then at the same time it's like it was not okay. It wasn't good. And I mean, I guess like, to me, all this stuff, like after watching the documentary, and you've seen it like more recent than I have. I watched it like when it first came out. Like, to me, like, I fully feel as though Hillsong was okay with letting Carl take this one and moving on.
Yep.
And they were okay with like ruining this man's life and letting him be like the person who took the downfall, and then just moving on as a church and being like, we're good. And I genuinely believe it's because like he was going to leave. Like I remember talking to somebody about that before all this happened, and there were like rumors and things like, oh, Carl might, like, we feel like he might leave, or like maybe, I don't really know, like, or people just mentioning that. And I think it's because they fucking knew if he left, everyone would follow him.
Yeah.
So how do you get a person who's the most popular, enigmatic, like people love this person, like people travel the world to see this one, how do you destroy him so that can no longer happen? You do this because every other pastor who's cheated, do you know how many times John Gray has cheated on his wife and he's still like
yeah.
So like,
and it's happened so many pastors in Hillsong like that we didn't even know that it happened because they didn't tell anyone. They swept it under the rug. The global pastor was paying people to not talk about his father sexually abusing children. They swept it under the rug. They didn't tell anyone. But this man cheats on his wife, and that he's the problem. We have to destroy him. It's crazy.
It's like literally fucking insane. And if you ask me, like, I think that's what makes me okay with like, because it would be easy to just pack up and go back to church like nothing ever happened, because I did go to a service, like I don't remember when, but it was like after we were finally back in person, and the way people were like, I went in late, sat all the way at the top so nobody would see me. The way people were like, oh my God, we saw you from up there, we're so happy you're back, like we could see you like crying, like oh my God, like we miss you. So the way everybody knew I was there and I was fucking trying to like fucking hide, it would have been so easy for me to go back. The church has been broken down now, I'm back, oh let me get like a position here,
we
thing
could be
there.
we could be leading worship. But do you know the clips I see of people who for years were in choir, their lifelong dream was to sing on frontline vocals, who are now leading songs in this. We could have just balls to the wall gone back in there. I could have been the fucking global worship pastor of Hillsong.
You are Chris Dabbs.
I am Dabbs. Like, you could have handed me an acoustic guitar and I could have led a conference. Like, it would be so easy. It would be so easy.
It would be easier to stay, continue. Oh, bitch. Absolutely, there would have been a place for us at the table. Absolutely, I would have become a staff member.
Yep.
Done. Because one fell apart. A lot of people left.
No one else wants to do it.
Yeah, so absolutely. Right? Like clawing your way to the top. You're like a part of this grand church. But
you're tying yourself, you know what's happened, and you're choosing to not watch the documentary, ignore the facts, and continue to be a part of it. It's not okay.
No.
It's not okay. And just what you said about thinking back on those times with like those were good times. And it's just hard because it was literally 22 years of my life. It wasn't just the year that I spent at Hillsong. It was my whole entire life. From the moment I was born, my dad was a pastor, my whole life. And now, like you said, I loved worship music. I loved singing. I loved being around my friends and going to church and serving for 22 years. And then to like look back on all of that and be like, it was all a lie.
Yeah.
It was all a lie. And then to have my family be like, it's not all churches. Just like, go back to, it's just like, are we all like, are we all seeing what's happening here? Like, this is not okay. And I just couldn't see myself just ignoring this. Like, it's already hard enough being a part of Hillsong when we had no clue what was happening. I can't imagine being a part of it now, knowing everything that's happened. Like, it's just crazy. It's really crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's fucking crazy. It's horrible. And there are so many other things, like I said, that have happened to me inside of the church that, like, not like, you know, abuse, but like, because I would probably not be okay to this day. Like, I would probably, you know, but just like mean shit, like people talking about me. Like, I like literally, I got bullied by a pastor before. Like, it's like, actually, dude,
a pastor.
So there were so many other things that I was willing to let go of because it wasn't about me. It was about this place. And if I could reach out to a girl just like me and bring her in and like give her like the answer, God, like whatever, like I was like willing to let everything else go and just take this as the rest of my life. Like, literally, I was willing to do that for even the shittiest things that kept happening to me or would happen. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. This is not about me. This is bigger than me. I need to do this. This is like, I have to like be a part of this. And then all this shit comes out. I'm not fucking staying. I'm sorry. Like,
no. And that's, I just don't, in my head, I can't wrap my head around the fact that people are choosing to know all of this information and stay.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I am glad I'm glad that it all came to light, and I am who I am today because of everything I've been through. And I don't know if I believe in God, and that's okay. And I am at peace with that, and I don't have to figure it out, and I don't have to know. And I've been through a lot. We've been through so much. We've been deeply traumatized by the church, and it's okay to take the time you need and process it. And if you want to, you know, go back one day, if you got to have your own journey with it. And I think it's important to question things. And when you're reading the Bible, if you want to read the Bible, ask questions. Why does it say this? And also understand that the Bible, first of all, has been translated 1 million times. And if you want to read the real Bible, you have to learn Hebrew. But it's a story. It's a story. It's a framework to live your life, and people treat it like it's the U.S. Constitution, and that it's word for word exactly what it means, and that it hasn't had meanings changed because of translations. And use it as a framework, as an example. It's not word for word the law that you have to live your life by. And you need to ask questions. You need to question things and figure out for yourself, not regurgitate what you've been told for your whole life.
And like, here's the thing too, like the Christian church itself will tell you that the Bible is a living word, and it applies to like every part of your life because it's living, it's a breathing like document or whatever. But they also teach you that things change throughout the Bible, like with time, like and you take things that you read in the Bible or that you've read and you apply it to that time. So it has to be, it's a living word, therefore it should be like culturally and like timely in the time that you're in.
Yeah.
So you should apply it in that way. So if you're like taking it word from word and being like, oh, well, the Bible says stuff about like, you know, having sex or like money or like literally about slaves. The Bible talks about slavery. And you're like, oh, for sure. Like, I'm going to apply these things, like, absolutely for a fact. But other things you're willing to, like, be like, oh, whatever, throw that out the window. Like, that's what makes me so mad is, like, that they're so willing to, like, apply certain things, but other things they'll, like, throw away. They'll be like, oh, no, that's silly. That's stupid.
That's outdated. Okay.
How's the rest of it?
How is they will take this wrongly translated verse about being gay and use that to justify being against gay marriage, but literally so many examples wearing mixed fabrics.
Yes.
Oh, that's out. That's just the old law. How is that the old law? But this mistranslated verse is so applicable to today.
Yeah. And also, here's my thing, too. That's the problem with it. If it's a living word and you have to apply it to the time that you're in, then everything can change and everything is living and open for interpretation. And then also, my guy, the Bible and like people will tell you that all sin is equal sin. So how are you telling me that, oh, like all sin is equal sin? Like, oh, if you have sex before marriage, whatever, like you can be forgiven, you can like be transformed. Yeah. But being gay, for sure, fucking wrong.
Damn to eternal hell. Yeah. You cannot serve here. You cannot be on our team. No. But you could have, if you have premarital sex,
no,
it's like
it's cool.
You shouldn't, but like maybe it's
you know you can repent. Like we'll figure it out.
We'll get you on stage. You'll be a pastor.
We'll pray for you. Like you're good, but you have to literally die. You have to.
You put a dick in your mouth, sir. Eternal damnation. Like it just doesn't, and that's again back to earlier because they don't have critical thinking skills.
No, dude.
And it's really concerning.
No.
And it's really concerning.
But yeah, so for me, I don't know. Like I think that, like I said in a different episode, I think maybe I still do believe in God because there have been so many things in my life that I've been like, oh my God, like God has showed up in this moment. And like I can't explain it, whether it's the universe, it's God. Like there have been things that I know for a fact I could not do on my own, which seems so crazy, but like there's some things that have just been like so perfect that I've been like, who else could it have been besides God? Right. So that I've experienced and I've felt, and I mean, I almost fucking killed myself. Like I literally spoke to God for a moment and was like, God, give me a sign, like something. I'm here. I literally did not think I would live past like 16, not even 16, like whatever fucking age I was when I was like literally in the middle of suicide. But like suicide. Like, so yeah, but at the same time, like I tried to remind myself it's not him, it's the people. It's the people who did this. It's the people. And you know what? Okay, at the same time, like they talk about, oh, we're all broken people, so the church is broken, but not that broke, like not illegal broken. Yeah. But yeah, so do I, don't I don't really know. I'm still open to like opening up other things. Like even saying that it might be the universe is crazy to me because when we were in church, saying that it's the universe was a bad thing to say. Yep. You also shouldn't believe in zodiacs. Yeah. Shouldn't watch fucking Harry Potter, apparently.
No secular music.
So even me saying that or allowing myself to be like, it could be the universe is crazy because you shouldn't think like that. But yeah, like it could, like, I don't know. Do we have a unique relationship? Maybe. And do I still believe in him? I mean, I think maybe. But at the same time, like, I don't know if I could ever go back to a church or step into a church because of, like, everything that's happened and because of how I feel. And because I know, like, I don't know if I would be able to, like, step into a church and be like, not be like, oh, this is weird. Or be like, okay, I can just go and not have to be a part.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if you remember from the end of the documentary, but like Laura and Carl they attend a church now, and Laura was like, I still can't sing. She's like, I just stand there. I haven't been able to open my mouth and sing or say anything. It's just different now. And I'm like, that's very true. Like, even if we do step back into it, it's not going to be the same as it was. And
no,
it's weird. And I just don't think we have to figure it out. Like, it's a journey, and you should figure it out for yourself and see what you think. And that doesn't mean by next Tuesday you have to know what you think. Like, it could take your whole life to figure out what you really believe and think about the universe or God or whatever it is. It's like, you have to come to it on your own and realize it for yourself. And so I think that's important, and an important step that the church misses. It's like, this is the God, this is the Bible, and this is exactly how it is, and you don't question it. Yeah. So you need to, like, do it on your own. Yeah. I just don't care to figure it out. That's where I'm at. Where I'm like, I don't know if I do, because I just don't care. Yeah, period. I don't want to figure it out. Yeah. Maybe one day I will. Maybe I'll want to explore that and see what I really truly think about it. But at this moment, I don't. Yeah. I have no interest in figuring it out.
Which is valid. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I said the one time that maybe I would read the Bible again, but in a different context, of course, because I don't.
Mindset, a different,
So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. Like, I just don't know. Like, it's scary. It's a weird thing we both went through. Like, and it's weird to be on the other side of it, because it looks very different than what I thought my life would turn out to be. Like, I fully thought I would be married, working at Hillsong right now, maybe having a kid, and just living in New York for the rest of my life. Like, I was prepared to never come to California, because I was like, oh, well, I'm going to have to be in New York for the rest of my life, because I'm going to be a part of Hillsong. So, yeah. But it's just crazy, because you, like, never know. Like you never know, like, somebody's life. And then, like, I remember I spoke to so many people about this, because they've been like, what's your thing? Like, what's your story? Well, I went to this one church, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's like a thing.
Yeah. It's so weird now, because it's like, I don't know, we meet people and they'll be like, how did you two meet? And it's like, we met at church. Yeah. And same with my roommate. I'm like, we met at church. Yeah. It's just crazy. Like, I never would have imagined this. Like, literally 2 years ago. Yeah. 3 years ago. Like, I just wouldn't have seen this. But our world has changed a lot in the past 3 years. We've changed a lot. A lot has come to light, and I can't operate the same that I did 5 years ago. We live in a completely different world. Yeah.
I'm, like, glad that it happened, because, like, when I tell you, like, I for sure was definitely brainwashed. Like, I for sure was. Like, I for sure was. There's no other reason why I would change my entire life and become a whole different person than because I was, like, wrapped up in it so deeply. Like, I was ready to change entirely who I was to fit this narrative of being this girl, this person who was a part of this church, like, everything. So I'm glad it happened, because maybe I would never even know that, like, I was queer or anything like that, because, like, I was, like, just being, you know, straight edge, like, being this person who goes to church, all this stuff. But I'm glad it happened, because I would probably still be there. But also, like, it fucking sucks that all these people have had to suffer because of this organization that swore they were lifting up the name of God, and they were not. And that happens at so many churches. Like we said, like, to use God in that way is predatory. It's evil. It's disgusting to literally trick people. Like, it's horrible, because people are looking for God. Like, whatever it means to them, people are looking for God. People are looking for a place to go where they feel safe, or to find answers. And the fact that they could fall into the wrong hands and be in something like this is horrible. And I don't like that. I don't agree with that. And I don't know if Hillsong is different. I don't know if they've changed. I don't know if they're new now that all these people have left who were a part of the problem. But still, I don't know if that's something that I would recommend people going to do.
Don't.
Yeah, so.
After everything we've discussed, if you're considering going to Hillsong, I would just say watch the documentary on Hulu and then come back to us.
Yeah.
And let us know how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Because it is very eye-opening. We didn't even begin to, like, we've discussed a lot here, but we haven't even scratched the surface of all of the allegations, everything that's come out. We didn't even get into the money that they were stealing, the $50,000 jets that Brian Houston was taking everywhere. We didn't get into any of that. We lightly touched on abuse, but it is far worse.
Exactly.
Also, trigger warning, the documentary is very dark.
Exactly.
It's very dark, so get ready if you're going to watch it. But
But yeah, so just question things. If you're going into a church, maybe just ask them their values. Ask them their values. Ask them what they think about certain things. If you align with that, great. If you don't, I wouldn't say hope that it's going to change, because I think the Christian church has gone too far that they're afraid to now backpedal on things that aren't true. They can't. So
they would have to take accountability and admit that they were wrong, and that is not going to happen.
Yes.
It will never happen.
So it's a crazy thing that this was our life, but I'm happy we're on the other side. I'm happy we're different people, and I still have love for those people who maybe are still in it, who are still suffering, who are still questioning. I love those people for the people they were in the times of in my life. I still have friends who have maybe gotten out of Hillsong that I love to this day, and I love you guys. I care about you guys, and you guys are the best part of why I went there. And like the two pastors who I love, who were like the youth pastors who I got very close to, who I used to joke were like my mom and dad. Like, I love them. I love you guys till the day I die, because you're the best part of being at that church. Best part of being at that church, hands down. She already knows that, period. Like, so I am thankful for those things, and for things that I learned and how I grew as a person, and maybe how strong I realized I was because I was in that environment. But
that's when I look back on it, the things that I think about fondly are the people that I've met, and the friendships that I have, not the ones that betrayed me, but obviously like you and people that I've met, like, that have changed like we have and realized things. And I am thankful for that, and I'm thankful because I wouldn't be who I am today without those experiences. But so I look back on the same things that you do fondly, just the people we met, and we wouldn't be sitting here if there wasn't for Hillsong. So there's that. There's a positive, I guess, in a horrible, terrible situation, and that's the positive. We're friends because of it.
Yeah, which is, we wouldn't be having this podcast.
You wouldn't be listening to this. You wouldn't be tuning in. We wouldn't be rich and famous podcasters if it wasn't for Hillsong.
Exactly. So if anyone ever asks us later on in life when we do blow up to comment, I have no comment. This is my comment.
This 2.5 hours is all we're going to speak about Hillsong.
Yeah.
I don't really want to ever talk about it again.
No, this will, of course, we knew that this episode would be longer, whether it's 2.5 hours or if we cut it down or whatever. It will be longer because this topic is hard, not only for us, but there are many people who have experienced church hurt in their lifetime. And it's a sucky thing to go through because it makes you question, like we said, your reality, your life, who you are, all this stuff. So we are happy that we're together. We're sad about what they did, who they are, and like all this shit. It's fucking horrible. But it's like, at least we, you know, got each other. Right. And like so many amazing people out of it. And I hope
once again, we are just two people sharing our story.
Yeah.
We're not speaking on behalf of everyone. We're not speaking on behalf of anyone who went to Hillsong, anyone who's gone to church, anyone who's been gay in a church. We've just shared our story and our experience and what we've been through. Yeah. With Hillsong. And we shared facts about Hillsong as well.
Yeah. And I hope the evil part of Hillsong, that whether it was, it still is, I don't know. I hope they never prevail.
Amen.
Amen.
And I hope there's justice in some capacity for the victims.
Yeah, because they deserve it. Because that's fucking disgusting and horrible and evil. Yep. Like, literally, how are you a church and you're doing evil shit? That's literally the opposite of what you should be doing. Yeah. Really crazy.
The bare minimum is to not do anything evil.
Yeah, it's literally to love others. I'm pretty sure that's literally the one thing that God was like. He was like, love others as I have loved you. Yeah. That's your thing.
They were like, Jesus, what is the most important thing? And he was like, love God and love other people.
Yeah, he was like, that's the one. Like, I get, like, he was like, I get everything else is super hard, babe. Like, I get it. But all I need you to do is love others as I have loved you.
That's all you have. That's literally, he says that's all you have to do. It's just love other people.
And they can't even do that.
They can't do the one thing that God actually said to do. That we know he said. Just love other people. They can't do it.
Oops. But yeah, so thank you for coming along this journey.
It was quite a journey.
Yeah, it was very long. It was a journey. If you have any questions, leave some comments.
Sure. But yeah, let us know. Let us know what you think.
Don't leave any hate comments like Hillsong, but like
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, don't leave
Go watch the documentary. Like, if you're about to leave a comment about Hillsong that's like defending it, watch the documentary.
If you have never been there, don't it's like we don't need your commentary. We lived it. It's from our experience, like we said, period. Yeah. So if you have anything to share, maybe you've experienced church hurt or you've gone through something similar, feel free to leave a comment. If you have any questions, maybe if they're not fucking crazy, we'll answer them.
I was about to say, DMs are open and we can answer some questions too if you have any.
Yeah, and maybe we'll make not another episode like this, but Yeah,
I'll talk about church.
Yeah.
Hillsong. But if you do have questions.
Yeah, about church and stuff, we could talk about that. But yeah, so this is the largest and biggest thing that I feel like when we meet people, like, not that we're trying to hide it, but like, we're like, but yeah, this is us.
This is us.
So thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a heavy one.
Yeah, if you made it to the end.
Yeah.
Thanks for hearing our trauma.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as you could, even though it was scary and sad. Come back for the next episode. I don't know what it's going to be, but I feel like we should make an episode about Coachella, talking about it.
Yes, the next one needs to be lighthearted and fun.
Yeah. Well,
Should we get blackout drunk for it?
Wait, that could be so good.
Next episode we're getting drunk.
Yeah, we'll get drunk.
We need to after this one.
Yeah.
I need some sort of substance in my system.
Yeah, we'll get drunk and we'll just be silly girls.
I'm down for that.
Okay.
We love you guys so much.
Love you. Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next time. Love ya.
Bye.
Bye.